by Daniel's 70th week of years. Milner Smallman, suspected of unwittingly releasing confidential wartime government data, made the switch and felt perhaps the prestige of one Russian Leo Tolstoy, who was granted amid times of national censorship the green light to release it. His epic War and Peace. Only Milner had a strict law to abide by these days. And that inflexible law to which he was bound required that of his reports not one document or information sent could comprise one iota of the digital correspondence. He could, however, broadcast on the live wire where he could in the face of infraction have the plug yanked if not while reporting live and before the signal should reach people's homes, however limited was one's listenership these days. So he would have to mail his proofs to headquarters in Manhattan, New York. Tolstoy had his typewriter too, Milner joked, and has touched the world with his reporting much in the fashion as has Mozart with his orchestrating. Only I get to enjoy modern-day conveniences while similarly risking my life. War scene is occasioning him the opportunity to after-the-fact report on the psychology of very real war, whereas I'm absurdly said to be lending to its enacting as if this is a virtual reality game of some sort. A different medium, I know. Different times. Milner's report today was as thus. Gog-Mageddon 2-bit stampeding unto year 5 of Daniel's 70th week of years. It's year 2 of an unprecedented Mideast peace treaty's catastrophic fracturing. Here is how the wartime chessboard developed unto today. The expiring days of year 1 and long months into once again making epic prophetical history. Israeli-Iran engagement meets threats of Russia and Turkish aerial assault, anti-terrorism special ops warfare, the also bleeding unto matasicized risk fostering many an international claim. Truly the Mideast world a vested interest of the world at large. Turkey threatens of uniting forces as the 10th ambassador of the Arab League Confederation under Hussein, giving up threats of Islamic League jihad against Western civilization. As one columnist has written, the players to a historic Gog and Magog confederation of the likes of which the world hasn't ever seen, scarcely in 70 AD back to the time of Ezekiel's recording of the prophecy to even today. Me and my peers studied up on the prophetic writings concurring, if this infamous battle royal isn't formulating out of all of this, then I imagine even these prophets from off of the Old Testament passages and the peculiar visitors with the cosmic wonders overhead long after plague onset and earthly distresses should deny their correlation part here and return home. The next line of his was typed in boldface, underscored in all caps, reading, they too have their clocks uncalibrated only where the season is ripe for its harvest. Daniel 11:44, men of consequence burst for the hour. Padre Pierre de Drome Darnus with Krishnikovs and his political war ambition. A rift divide whereas NASA and North King are themselves engaged in far Mideast land conquest war, each with their own reasons while enemies to out of secret conspiration bring it. The Magog campaign's idea that, if materializes, is conceivably spearheaded and marshaled by individual components of this very anti-West anti-Israel confederacy on our very day, discerning that largely on the continent only Israel and Allied help stand in the way. Turkey with religious sensitivities and jihad ambitions, separated from NATO Six League affiliation in name of a religious fuel war, citing war crimes and in secret opposing NASA while joining with Khrushchev who similarly turns on them as North Star Alexandras is isolated worldwide yet seeking to both encourage defecting and flourish under defecting NASA Arabic brigades of which are mobilized as 10 principals or generals. Pierre seeks to empower religious stake and resists Khrushchev toward tail end after seeking to restore Iranian resistance presence with return to NASA loyalties who they thought let them down, Khrushchev and Hussein with respective differing motives bitterly oppose each other to fateful end. In collusion and then rift manifesting in post-CC at Magog War, insurrections through deceits, attacks on lands including what folks are calling the greatest act of terrorism since the beginning of time in NASA's Vatican hit against Rome. Just to think, 'twas an inside job, a mutiny of a sort with the Vatican as the commandant vessel, and as world has learned amid this kind of resurfacing of the face of the East unfolding suddenly that is scarcely what we'd in our wildest imaginations expected to see. Milner Smallman on overseas detail. Do stay tuned for more. Again, the reporter had forgotten to scrub his personal notation from what he'd transmitted back to Manhattan, NY, where editors in staff there opined, no, in the least bit has he comprised their information from streams made publicly available. Here's, however, leaking of his ineptitude compulsion once again, folks. Please scrub this email detail before making it public. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen. Shame on you, our beloved Milner Smallman. The editor turned on a heel, whistled a chorus line from somewhere and said over his shoulder, you'll thank us later. Until then what he doesn't know should in the least bit further conflict him. The note scribbled at the bottom and inside margins of his paper only read, to the person or persons with illegal access to this document from whom I require permission all of a sudden stole my entire email, 2 of them to date. Attempts to recover them, irrelevant today, were unsuccessful unlike material reclamation. Those emails are Milner Smallman and Smallman and Collaborative Right at email.com and backup email, Milner Smallman Overseas War Correspondent at epkvm.com. If you've left the digital trail, to law's fullest extent you will be brought to account via lawsuit, you shameless schmuck. Note to self, transpose the acceptable text to headquarters today, before the hour expires lest I forget again.
70, the time of Jacob's trouble, planet Earth's generation Gog-Mageddon. 4 formats soon, and that'll be in paperback, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook. Pretty much in that order, I think. Today's date is August 14th, 2025. Recording time is